Today I have a Mother's Day card, and it's got some stenciling on it, and it is made from a label gatefold die cut card. However, I've actually converted it into a trifold card, and I'll show you just how I did that in the video. But I've got the beauty is motherhood. Perfect for all those mothers out there, and Mother's Day is coming up. And I did a Mother's card last week as well, but this is just a brand new idea in case you wanted an extra idea. And you can also use this card for other occasions as well. Just change the greetings to your liking. Alright, stay tuned to see how I made this card. Today I'll be using the Artful Mannequin stencil, which is right here. It's a 6x6 thin plastic stencil. Has all the images as you see here. And you can mask off different bits and pieces of it if you need to, if you want to just have part of the stencil showing on your project. Then I'm going to also use the Butterfly Garden Artful Card Kit, and I'm just going to show you the packaging here. We've got all those papers and die cuts and cutouts and project ideas as well. And then I also have the label gatefold die cut cards, and this comes with 5 cards and 5 envelopes. I'm just showing you one of the die cut pieces here. So it comes with pre-scored lines and die cut pieces, and these just pop out and you fold along the lines and you get these great blank cards for you to decorate. And then there's also patterns to cover your card as well. And those are the 3 items I'm going to use today. So let's get started. So I'm working with another die cut card. This is the label gatefold card, and it's called a gatefold because it opens like a gate, or like French doors, if you know they've got 2 that open symmetrically. So that's kind of what happens in this card. Now on the back of this you'll see cutting patterns, and these are meant to be cut out and then used as tracing patterns to cut out pieces to fit the front of your card, like so. And by the way, this card happens to be made with the Butterfly Garden Artful Card Kit as well, so that's an additional card idea. So really, with my tutorial plus the 4 cards on here and the 1 card on here, you're getting 6 card ideas, and you could probably make them all with 1 kit, who knows. It goes a long way. But back to my tutorial. So what I like to do with the packaging, because I like to kind of keep this nice and whole, is I just scan this in my printer and print out a copy in black and white. And I've already done that and cut out this side, which is the left side, and the center pattern. And you can cut out the right side if you like, but as you'll notice, it is the same shape if you simply flip the left side over. So save yourself a little bit of cutting and just cut out one shape and use it on the other side, the flip side, for the right side. So the thing about the paper patterns is if you use them, they will create a white border, like a mat, around your card shapes. And let's go back to the die cut card here for a second. I'm just gonna pull those shapes out. By the way, you can use one of these in the center if you like. You can use it on a different project. They're nice to have. They're a pretty shape and they're pretty versatile to use. And if you want, you can also see when I punch that out, I've got some little nibs showing. You can just cut those with a craft knife, or you can kind of scrape them down, or you can be even more meticulous and slice through them with your craft knife before you pop it out, and you'll have all the smooth edges here. Now, I like to have my bumpy lines on top, and then I fold my card inward. So first thing I like to do is take this fold line, fold it inward, and I like to use a bone folder, or if you don't have one, you can always use your fingernail. Make that crease nice and sharp. And then with this, oh, P.S. You can also create a window card if you just cut off this third of the card. See how that just has a cute little window on top? So also another option. Or if you slice off a tiny sliver of this edge, you can fold this one on top and you'll have a trifold card with a window. So, I mean, this is actually a really, really versatile die cut card. So this score line, as you can see, I folded the other way. Press that down nice and sharp. And I want to do the same exact treatment on the other side. Pressing that one down, and then the next one back. Okay, now here is my gatefold card, and ta-da, that's how it opens. Now you have a couple options at this point. You can decorate these two panels and the inner panel and leave these two inside door things white, or you can decorate every single panel you see here and these two as well, and that just creates more of a visual space when the card is opened. Another thing you can do if you don't want this large opened card is you can glue these panels back to those areas here, and once they're glued back, then they'll be more like a door. So just opening up like this, and they'll still meet in the middle, and they'll still have a window when it's closed. Now you can certainly use this as a gatefold card, which it's called, but I'm going to do something a little bit different today. So I've got one of the other ones in the pack here that's not been folded, and I'll punch out these shapes. And for the folding, I'm going to do this side. Oops. So my bumpy lines are up top. I'm going to fold the right side inward first. Open that up, fold the left side inward. And look at that. I've got my trifold card. So I'm actually not doing a traditional gatefold, which if you compare the two, here's the first one and here's the second one. It's got two opening overlapping doors, kind of like a brochure. Now if it doesn't fold completely flat as you like it, you can just trim a sliver off of this flap here, and that should do the trick. But it's actually folding pretty tightly. I don't see the cardstock hitting the fold too badly there, so I think I might just leave that. Now the problem this presents if you're using it without the two equal pieces here is for the paper patterns. Since you've got two pieces here, now you could decorate it the same way and do a half this side, a half that side, and have a white line down the middle. But if you want to have both sides together, you're going to have to account for the space in the middle. So I'm going to say that's roughly 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab my pattern paper. I've got this pretty yellow floral pattern. So I'll flip it to the back. And I'm also going to flip this over. So I'm going to line this up on the edge, and I'll just trace around it. And I don't need to trace along this line or this line, even though I already did that one, because I'm just going to be cutting along the outer line and the inner line. So none of the middle line. I just drew the first line just so I could measure how far apart the second should be. Okay, so I have cut it out completely. Here's the front of my card, and if I place it just on top there, looks pretty nice. It frames the inside shape, just with a thin white border, and then it goes a little bit too far down here, so I'm probably going to cut a sliver off of the bottom. But before you glue this on, after you've gone through all the trouble of tracing 2 pieces, now you have this as a template to use to cover your second panel. So don't do anything to this yet. I'm just going to trim a sliver off of this end right now, and then I'm going to use it to trace my second panel. Okay, so here's my front piece, and then I've just cut out this nice golden pattern for my second piece, and it looks a little tight around the label shape, and I can always go back and take a craft knife and just carve out a little more to create a little more white border around there. Now once I have these, then the only panel left I have to cut would be this middle one. And you can still use the same shape, just don't trace the inner label. And my recommendation would be to decorate all of your paper panels before gluing them on, because if you have some embellishments that maybe go off the side, or if you want to have a ribbon across here, you can glue it to the back before you glue this on, and it'll be nice and neat. So I'm going to go ahead, cut my third panel, and start decorating my my panels. And just to show you this, this is the paper I've chosen for my very inside panel. And as you can see, it's got a lot of pretty butterflies on it, so it's not going to need too much more embellishment. But I'm going to go ahead and decorate the other panels. Alright, I'm going to start by telling you that for these openings, I'm actually going to end up backing them with paper so that I can have a saying here, you open that flap, have a saying here, open that flap, and then the final saying on the inside. So I'm going to take this dark teal pattern paper, and I have one of those cutouts from the card, or those die cuts, and I'm just going to place it about there. Just trace around it lightly. I'm going to end up erasing these lines, but I just need this shape so I know generally where to cut. Okay, it's kind of light on there. I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to center this beauty. The word is masked off by stencil tape. Masking tape is a little bit stronger even than stencil tape. Stencil tape's very temporary adhesive. It's really nice when you're using stencils. So I'm going to go ahead and try and center that as best I can. And it's okay if it's not perfect because I just did it in pencil, so I can always redo that shape if I need to. I'm going to take a few bits of stencil tape just to tack it down. And I'm going to use a couple different embossing pastes. Now this is called embossing paste, this one's called stenciled paint. But they both have a kind of thicker consistency. I would probably equate them with each other. As you can see, it's kind of a thick, creamy paint. So what you'll need is probably a scratch piece of paper would be good. So I've got one of those, just gonna slide that in. I have a paper towel handy, and I have one of these plastic squeegees, or if you are kind of artsy and you have one of these palette knives, those are super handy for scooping up the stencil paint or embossing paste. So I'm going to actually use this because it's a little more exact. Here's my jar of embossing paste, and this is in gold. And when it dries a nice metallic gold, a little bit darker than it is wet here. So I'm just going to dab a little bit there. And if you want to keep this clean, I just wipe that right off with my paper towel, and good as new. And I'll do the same thing with the plastic squeegee here. So I'm just gonna scrape this across the word. Oops, and if you forgot one letter, there we go. I'm gonna wipe this off. Paper towel. Alright. Now I wiped that off so that's nice and clean. Easy cleanup. Put the lid back on that. Carefully peel off those pieces of stencil tape. And lift off your stencil. So now I have Beauty, and this is going to take a few hours to dry. You could probably help it along with a heat embossing tool, but I'm just going to set that aside for now. And what I recommend is taking this under a running faucet and just rubbing it with your fingers. A little bit of dish soap would be helpful as well, but I find if you do it right away and before anything dries, it's super easy to clean. Or if you're not near a sink or you want to do it later, you can simply take a paper towel and scrape off any excess, wipe off that embossing paste, and it just keeps your stencils a little bit nicer. But I do recommend washing it with soap and water under a sink, because then you can get into all the little crevices on the inside that the embossing paste can get stuck to. And yes, remove your tape before you clean it. Alright, so on my second piece of paper I put is, so the first one is already starting to dry, so probably an hour should be fine. It's not that much to dry. So I've got Beauty and I've got Is. Those are going to be on two separate labels. And then on the final panel, I'm also going to have a label shape. So I'll have this on the inside with the label shape. And I want to cut this out of the gold pattern paper. It looks like this. It's a yellowy gold color. And this is going to say Motherhood. So my card's gonna say Beauty is Motherhood. I know it's kind of an abstract concept card, but I think motherhood is a beautiful thing. So, and having a mother and being a mother I've experienced now. So anyway, I've printed this out. This is a font that's called Brand Ball. It's kind of a different name. I'll put a little sign there. It says what it is. And I'm going to simply place a chunk of paper over the printed words, just like this. And I'm just going to tack it down with a little bit of Scotch tape on the back, and I'm going to run it through my printer again. Alright, so I have this nice and clear on this rectangle of paper. Now, because my other two words are with gold embossing paste, and this one's just flat printed, I wanted to make it extra special, and to do that, I'm going to use liquid pearls. Now, liquid pearls, if you've seen some of my other videos, I use them sometimes. This one's called Peacock, and it goes nicely with the Butterfly Garden Artful card kit. So I'm just going to go over the printed words with my liquid pearls. Just gonna make sure there's nothing stopping up my nozzle there, and just really steadily I'm gonna go over this whole printed piece here. Alright, now I'll just let that dry, preferably overnight, but definitely a few hours. Oh, and a couple tips that some of my commenters have said is they just take a scrap piece of paper that they have out at the same time. This is genius. And just squeeze a little line on there. So after however many hours you wait and you're not sure it's dry, touch this and not that to test it so that you don't mess up your hard work. And that way, if this is hard, you'll know that's hard, and both will be good to go. Alright, so I've let this dry overnight, and I'm now going to trace the label shape around it. So just kind of center it here. Okay, now I'm just going to mat this on white cardstock. And there we go. Alright, so for my card, I've got 3 panels to decorate. This is the front, the inner panel, and then the back panel. So the front panel, I did this butterfly swirl image. It's right here on the stencil. And then for the second one, I did this rose with the swirl. Let those dry. And the third one is going to say motherhood on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those pieces onto my card. So this is what my card looks like so far. This is the front, second panel, and then third panel. Now this is, I'm actually going to fill in these windows so you're not going to see the motherhood until the very end. Those panels are currently drying right now, so once they're dry, I'm going to be right back. Okay, so this is my finished card. I have glued the beauty panel behind the window, so you'll see this rectangle here. Not too noticeable when you're opening the card, however. So I've got the beauty inside the frame, and then I have the bow right here. This ribbon is from the Butterfly Garden ribbon set, and these ribbons, are 6 of them. They all match that Butterfly Garden Artful card kit, so really lovely colors. So I've got beauty, and I don't know if I showed you, but I added 2 gold butterflies, just the small butterflies, let those dry, and then glued that on. So this is the front, and then you open it up. I added this flourish, and this is also on the stencil. I just simply masked off the rose, as you can see there, and used that flourish for the just to have something on that panel. And then I stenciled this rose with this jade green stencil paint, and then when you open it up, motherhood, and I simply added just a bow from the same ribbon set on the inside. So beauty is motherhood. This would be a great gift for a new mother as well, so not just your own mother. You could give it to a mother you know, your mother-in-law, anybody who is a mother. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me, and please stay tuned for today's bundle. First in today's bundle is the Butterfly Garden Artful Card Kit, and it comes with 98 pieces. Here's a really pretty card idea on the front. On the back there's plenty more card ideas and just an image of all of the pieces in the kit. Here are the papers to start with. There are 7 patterned papers. They're all 8.5 by 11 inches. This one's the beautiful front piece with the butterfly border. They are not double-sided, by the way, in this kit. The second page I have is a really lovely all-over floral piece with yellow flowers and some teal flowers mixed in. Then we have a golden sort of color with a tile pattern with lots of medallion type images. Same thing in a teal really lovely colors in this set. We've got a green, yellow, and teal tile pattern. And a tiny check pattern here with, they're actually tiny little daisies in here and the little X's, which is really cute. This one's more of a darker green. Here are the cutouts. So these are not die cut, but they have simple and thick lines for you to follow with your scissors. And there are blanks as well as filled in labels. So there's plenty of variety. We have everything from birthday wishes to a get well card, laugh, smile, be happy, celebrate, so, and plenty of blanks. So you can pretty much use them for any occasion you wish. Then there are the 3 sheets of die cuts, which are really nice, and they have large images such as this large kind of this plant here, and I mean, for you to cut this out by hand would take forever, so it's really nice that they're simply die cut and you just have to pop them out from the background. There are a variety of shapes, and now when this swirl is cut out or punched out, it's a little bit more detailed than what you see printed on there. So that ends up looking really nice. Here's sheet number 2. And same thing with this border. You can't really see the holes, but once those holes are punched out there, you can see where the die lines are when I turn it in the light. It turns out like a really nice little eyelet or lace border. And same thing with all these intricate shapes here with the swirls. Love this beautiful label with the butterfly. Here's an oval. And lots of variety in the shapes too, which makes it great for layering. So you could do a long and then a short one on top of the long one. And just have bits and pieces poking out in the different layers, which is a really nice look. Here's a smaller version of that plant. And another long label, more of a square, and then a circle. Some of these actually have an inner shape that punches out. There you can see the die lines of this one as I shine the light on it. So really detailed, intricate shapes, super easy to use on your projects. I don't know if these are showing up very well, but those are cut out too. I'll just show you there. So it makes it really easy using this kit to make a card, because first of all, you do have card examples on the front and the back of the packaging, and second of all, you have everything included. And if you just add maybe a touch of ribbon, or like I have, if you use a die cut card base. By the way, this is the second thing you'll be getting in today's bundle, the Label Gatefold die cut card set. And it comes with 5 cards and 5 matching envelopes, which is perfect. And then you've got a little image of a few other die cut card sets available. But on the back you're getting the cutting patterns for covering the front of your card. And then finally, last but not least, I have the Artful Mannequin plastic stencil. This is from Hot Off the Press as well, and it is 6 inches by 6 inches. So we've got some really fun images on here. And if you didn't want to use this large image, you could just use a swirl with the butterflies. You could just use the rose by masking off different areas with stencil tape. And you could even mask off everything but beauty. You can really customize it, and what I love doing is masking off the wings and just using the dress form. So it's really versatile. So I hope you enjoyed this week's tutorial. Please join me again next week for another fun project. Thanks for watching.